Hi, this is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. I hope you enjoyed this Game Industry Insight, a look behind the scenes at game development. And be sure to subscribe and you can pitch future video topics. Alright, for today's Industry Insight, I want to talk about a recent announcement from Bethesda during the E3 2017 presentation for their big Bethesda Land presentation there. And that has to do with the idea of the Creations Club and how this could potentially be very big for content creators and modding for the future. So, if you missed the announcement, the Creations Club is going to be a way for content creators to submit mods or custom content to Bethesda to be integrated into either Fallout 4 or Skyrim at the moment. Now, of course, if this succeeds, I'm betting that we'll see this in future titles. But the reason why this is a very big deal has to do with what happened in 2015 and their first attempt at doing this. If you didn't hear about this, in 2015, Bethesda teamed up with Valve to do Steam Workshop integration of paid mods for The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Basically, you could submit a mod of anything to the Steam Workshop, put a price on it, and people could buy it. And then Bethesda, Valve, and then the content creator would receive a cut from it. The idea failed spectacularly, to the point that after about 2 days, they basically canceled the whole thing. And the reasons why this didn't work really infer on why the Creations Club sounds very interesting for today. So, the first reason, of course, is the technical problems. Anyone who has dealt with mods knows that they always come from obviously outside of the game, meaning that the game doesn't offer any real technical support. If a problem happens, you basically either have to deal with the modder themselves or just simply uninstall the mod. And then this can become even more complicated when you have mods that only work with specific patches, mods that break other mods, mods that require other mods to work, and the rabbit hole just keeps going down. For fans of Payday 2, whenever Overkill has their week to 10 days of free content, that's basically the time to uninstall any mods because they will never be compatible for each new version change. And when we throw in the idea of buying mods, this becomes all the more complicated. What happens when you buy a mod that is no longer being supported by the game? Or this mod breaks when you install another paid mod? And we can keep going there. The second problem, of course, came with copyrighted mods or copyrighted IPs. Anyone who's played Skyrim, Fallout, or any game with mods will tell you that there's always the fun of adding in licensed characters and random who knows what to your game. With Skyrim, there's of course like a My Little Pony mod, a Macho Man Randy Savage dragon skin mod, and more. And when we're dealing with free content or stuff that has no monetary value, fair use is usually pulled as the popular defense. But if someone tries to charge for that, and Bethesda and Valve got money, well, that certainly throws a very big monkey wrench into the proceedings. If someone wanted to have a Simpsons mod for Fallout 4, I'm sure Fox would jump on them faster than you can say dough. Now, the next issue is, of course, from a ownership standpoint, and this was one of the bigger ones. When it comes to modding games and modding content, we've seen mods come from either a single individual or groups of people working together, be it a group working on a single mod, or maybe two or more modders who are working on individual mods who decide to combine their efforts. Or someone may share pieces of their mod with someone else's mod in order to get it to work. But of course, what happens when you start throwing money into the equation? Now, many big name modders and teams will have crowdfunding options, GoFundMe, Patreon, and so on. But when we're dealing with a revenue sharing, that adds another major conundrum to the proceedings, and it caused a lot of fallout, no pun intended, from the people who were either working together on mods for Skyrim, or if one decided to try and sell a mod without the other one's permission. and the legal ramifications for that are immense. And then the final point, which really I think drove the nail in the coffin back in 2015, was the revenue sharing. The modders at that time, and correct me if I'm wrong, only received a 30% share for whatever the mod was, and of course the rest would be split between Valve and Bethesda. And the problem with that is that there's a very wide spectrum of quality when it comes to mods. We have mods that are simple as changing everyone's shirt to be green, to mods that are either partial or full conversion mods, maybe even adding in an original campaign, original voice acting, art, assets, you name it. And it just didn't seem right to basically only have 30%, especially when you have a very popular mod and one that is of high quality. And for those reasons, the whole Steam Workshop integration just failed utterly. And this is why the Creations Club sounds very intriguing and what has already been announced about. Now, before we get into that, one important caveat is whenever we have major plans like this, there's always a possibility for things to be amended or rescinded in the future. So for those of you watching this further down the line, this may not be 100% accurate. But there's two very big points that Bethesda has announced. The first one is that any content that has already been created for Fallout 4 or Skyrim is not eligible for the Creations Club. One of the big issues of the workshop was that none of the content was vetted. You could have someone trying to charge $10 for a mod of give your character infinite levels. And of course, the as mentioned issue of people stealing or using someone else's content in their own mods and charging for it. It sounds like Bethesda is going to actually try and vet the mods or whatever content's being created. And that is a very big step up from what Valve was doing, which was basically nothing. As we've said before with Steam Direct and Steam Greenlight, Valve are not big fans of monitoring and trying to have some kind of control over this kind of content. But if Bethesda is going to do it, that is a very big deal. They're also, according to the website, are going to work with members of the Creations Club to make sure that the content is of high value and will obviously be technically supported for whatever version of Skyrim or Fallout, make sure it's compatible with other mods, and so on. And they're also going to be vetting people to actually get into the club. They're saying that the first wave will basically be people who are either already working at Bethesda or have shown their merit in the mod community to begin with. From that point on, though, if you want to get in on the club, you actually have to prove yourself as being worthy of it. You can't just make a mod of stick figures or just link to concept art you made and say, let me in and start paying me. And if Bethesda is really going to keep their word and monitor and control things, that is going to do a lot to help make this more accessible and friendly. Like we said a few minutes ago, when it comes to modding in games, it was always considered this, third-party, hidden kind of thing. You had to know about the mods already to really enjoy it. And again, even with that said, it was somewhat of a grab bag in terms of the quality and stability of these mods. And again, when we have mods on top of mods, on top of different versions of your game and patching, it creates a quagmire to deal with. And having this kind of Creations Club can also mean big things for what Bethesda has been doing with trying to integrate modding and community content on the console versions. Last year or earlier this year, there was, of course, issues of Sony not liking this idea and Microsoft basically saying, you have our full support. And being able to have a legitimate and reputable storefront for community mods and community content could have very big ramifications for supporting mods and content creators outside of the PC field or the PC industry. For those of you watching this right now, I'm sure you are all PC fans. And as we all know, modding and consoles never really mix. The same went for indies and console games or console markets, which that has slowly been changed. But like I said, if Bethesda is actually going to keep their word and not only monitor and vet, but support these mods going forward, this could be very big. Because it could be amazing to be able to play Skyrim or Fallout on PS4 or Nintendo Switch and have a collection of mods that you know are not only of high quality, but are guaranteed to work with your game. This could extend could extend these games' lifespans dramatically, especially if the incentive is there for content creators. And that, my friends, is the big point. Because there's still one thing that hasn't been discussed yet by Bethesda, and that is the profit or the revenue that will go to content creators. Basically, there are two options. Either a we buy your mod one-time price and then that's it, you hit the road, or you share the revenue. So if for every copy of this mod that's sold, you get X amount of money. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the deal that's going to be worked up. But the question is, what is going to be the specific revenue share? Like I said a few minutes ago, the big controversy or the big failing of the workshop was that it was only, I think, 30%. But what should be a fair and acceptable price? My pie in the sky crazy number would be 50%. But I don't know if that would be considered fair or if I'm just being nuts. For those of you watching this, especially if you are a modder or a developer yourself, or even a consumer, actually anyone who's dealt with mods before, what do you think is a fair price to split the revenue with someone who is making mods for your games? And like I said when we covered the Steam Workshop issue, I am definitely in support of having people paying for or being paid for their content, especially if they are really putting in the time and effort. And if with the Creations Club that this requires a lot of work to get that stamp of approval from Bethesda, this could be the next step for community created content going forward, especially given the negative reputation that's been going on with Valve and Steam with Counter-Strike Go, Team Fortress, and Dota 2 created content. But with that said, I have a special buy one get one free critical thought from E3 2017, and that is that Mario XCOM sounds amazing. So with all that said, thank you so much for watching today's vlog. If you're new and you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think of this whole Creations Club thing, and if this could be the next step towards, I guess, legitimizing and making it more mainstream accessible, the act of modding and custom community or content creations along that front. And be sure to check back daily for more discussions on design here on GameWisdom.com, where we examine the art and science of games. So until next time, have a great night, and I hope you're still enjoying E3 2017. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and come back around 10 Eastern for regular streaming. For a collection of my writings as well as weekly podcasts on game development, be sure to check out game-wisdom.com. Follow me on Twitter at GWBycer for updates throughout the day. And to help support everything that I do, you can find me on Patreon under GWBycer or Game Wisdom. Your donations can help to keep things running, and when we hit some goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy. So, thanks again for watching, and be sure to come back for daily discussions on game design on the Game Wisdom channel.